when then Kenyan Foreign Affairs Minister Moses Wetangula signed a memorandum of understanding with his Somalia counterpart Abdirahman Warsame on the 7th of April 2009. Two countries, it would appear, were close to sealing a unanimous pact on delimitation of their strategic maritime border in the Indian Ocean. But this was a short-lived celebration, as the Somali parliament renounced the deal only 4 months later, setting stage for a protracted maritime dispute that would years later see Somalia sue Kenya at the International Court of Justice. The hearing of the case commences in just 3 weeks. But drumbeats of war have begun sounding from the Kenyan parliament, where National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale, in a motion co-authored with his minority counterpart John Mbadi, has petitioned Parliament to sanction, among other measures, deployment of the Kenya Defence Forces to guard the contentious maritime space.
We have solved conflict with Somalia from time immemorial using both diplomatic and good relationship. But the idea of going to court may not be augur well for both nations, Kenya and Somalia.
This case has been given to the international arbitration. And if we seem to be aggressive, they might say that Kenya is interfering or even trying to influence the decision of the Maritime Court.
International law on maritime delimitations sets the exclusive economic zone for any country adjacent to the sea at 200 nautical miles, heading seawards from the mainland. Facing the ICJ, however, is the question on whether the Kenya-Somalia maritime border, guided by this 200 nautical miles law, ought to extend seawards horizontally as Kenya demands, or diagonally as Somalia claims. The two conflicting claims eliciting a bitter dispute over these 62,000 square miles of maritime space in the Indian Ocean, said to be rich in oil and aquatic life, amid reports that multinationals eyeing these resources might have a hand in the dispute.
One of the richest hauls of tuna fish on the eastern coast of Africa is found in this area. There is also the existence of proven deposits of oil and gas, and people are looking for resources everywhere. And they have found Somalia being dysfunctional as it has been, and I hope that they will put the act together. They are easier to manipulate and get better deals.
Some of the companies that may be involved are very well connected with the powerful people in European capitals, politically powerful people, not just financially. Of course, they're financially powerful, but also politically powerful people. So it looks as if it's an indirect aggression on Kenya.
But will the ICJ really resolve or escalate this dispute? Perhaps one of the likeliest comparisons back home is the border dispute between Nigeria and Cameroon, which also landed at the ICJ over a 994-mile stretch between the two countries, dubbed the Bakassi Peninsula, off the Gulf of Guinea. At one point, Nigeria deployed 3,000 soldiers to the contentious area, citing harassment of residents, most of who are of Nigerian origin, by the Cameroonian authorities. The Nigerian government only withdrew its troops years later, after the ICJ ruled in Cameroon's favor in 2002. But perhaps in manifestation of the bureaucratic and emotive nature of border disputes, despite this verdict, the two countries are still grappling with the demarcation of the border after the verdict, despite the process being under the UN supervision. In Somalia's case, Kenya is one of the leading contributors of its army to the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM. A deployment of the KDF to the contentious maritime space amid Somalia's protests, pundits argue, would thus have ramifications on Kenya's mission for stabilization of the mainland Somalia. While legal experts say such a move would also catch the eye of the ICJ, which has also warned against aggression by both Kenya and Somalia as the case proceeds in court.
Kenya must now step up its diplomatic engagement with strong friends who have got the capacity and the ability to influence the course of things without saying too much about what is in court being a lawyer.
We need to look this thing deep, not just at Somalia, but who else is involved in fueling this kind of thing and why. The why is that they just want to keep Kenya out and they want to be in control of everything in Somalia.
Kenya's position about this serious matter is as follows and is immutable, that we will not cede any inch of Kenyan territory to anyone or any government.
And as the battle for the ocean heads to Parliament, the dispute takes a political angle as the judges at The Hague prepare for the hearings from next month. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News in Nairobi.